Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. This program is exceptional today. We're in the office of the President of Georgia in Tbilisi. Mr. President, hello. Thank you for welcoming us.
Hello.
Today the interview is being conducted with Ilana Moryoussef of Radio France. The first question. Russia, 1 year after the war with Georgia, is talking about Georgia's provocations in South Ossetia. Russia is threatening to react, including by force. Mr. President, today, can you say that you don't want another war with Russia?
Obviously, the question is not whether Georgia wants war or not. Obviously, we're not crazy, and we weren't crazy last year either. The question right now is whether Russia wants a war with Georgia. And unfortunately, they declared that they haven't fully finished their mission. They haven't gotten rid of the government in Tbilisi. There are things that haven't been accomplished yet. There is provocation. There is a very worrisome language that's being used, and it's not a test only for us, but for all of the international community. I think you have to be very, very cautious about this. The situation is not very calm. It's very much a source of concern for me. It's very similar to last year.
Mr. President, you have just talked about international reactions. France has made it known that the increase in tension is of great concern to her, and France has asked both parties to exercise self-restraint. Is this firm enough?
It seems to me that at the present, it's obvious that Georgia has no intention and no possibility of attacking Russia. It would be totally false. It would be suicide. We're talking about 120,000 Russian troops on our borders, 200 fighters ready to take off at any time, ready to attack. It was the same as last year. This situation, you must absolutely send a very strong signal to the Russians without any diplomatic language. I mean, they don't really understand that language.
Are you saying to the Americans and the Europeans, be firmer? Is that what you're saying to them?
That's the only possibility for us. It's not to go to war. Obviously, we would never win against that monster. I've never had any illusions about that, and I've never imagined that the Western forces could come with their tanks or airplanes. That's excluded. The only possibility to get that language across, at least this time, that it won't work, that Europe and the US and Brussels and Paris and all of the capitals will not accept the same things that the Germans did last century. It was the first, then they annexed Czechoslovakia because of the Munich Agreement. In the 21st century, Munich would not be possible. It has to be very clearly said to the Russians.
2 weeks ago, the Vice President of the United States, Mr. Biden, was here in Tbilisi. He did not advise you to try and reconquer Abkhazia and South Ossetia by force. Do you have a feeling that your U.S. ally has abandoned you?
We have no illusions whatsoever about a U.S. military intervention. It would be crazy of us to believe that. We do not believe that. We never have believed that. But what Obama did in Moscow and what Biden did here is they sent a very clear message to the Russians that despite the fact that we cannot talk about military intervention, diplomatically, politically, and economically, there will be consequences for Russia if there is a total occupation of Georgia or if it's destabilized. It would be very serious, and it has to keep its word. The administration has to keep its word. Obama is still going to be around for 3.5 more years, and this is not the lame duck administration of George Bush, which was on the way out.
1 year after the war, haven't the Russians won in one respect? That is to say, Georgia's hopes of entering NATO are dead, are they not?
No, I think that the Russians have been subjected to a considerable humiliation and defeat, a significant defeat. If you look at who was the most radical supporter, it was the General Secretary of NATO, Rasmussen. He was supporting Georgia without any hesitation whatsoever last year. If you look at the declarations of Biden here and Obama in Moscow, I think the outcome is still uncertain.
In how much time will Georgia join NATO?
Well, last year, we were talking about already, it can't be 8 years. Last year, we were talking about, it was fairly symbolic. There was a membership action plan which is symbolic. Even last year, it was clear that it was a long process. We need to normalize the situation, even the occupation situation, and also deal with the threats of Putin. I mean, Putin has threatened to hang me by various parts of my body, as you know, and to destroy physically the government. And I'm still here. So there are questions that are open questions, because Putin is still in power, and Putin is a hardliner. It's very clear that he always keeps his word, he does what he says, and that's what's a source of concern for us.
Mr. President, we have understood that you don't want to write off